find a seat somewhere in the front or somewhere in the closer periphery of the outside area. Okay, I am here now. That is it. Everyone, can you hear me? Welcome to Crypto Malta! Woo! Okay. I am a little bit sick because I just come back from Katowice, and when we landed in Poland it was exactly 7 degrees Celsius, and I just came from the beach in Malta, and here I am, still fighting my fight. But we're gonna do it because today is gonna be a special day. We have organized a panel on EdTech, that is educational technology, and I am not going to be the moderator. That is someone else. I'm going to explain the situation in a second. Everyone, if you're standing in the back talking, try to sit somewhere in the front where you can see us. So, my name is Feres. I am a blockchain evangelist. We are Crypto Hub Malta. Crypto Hub Malta is the blockchain native community of Malta, but actually we talk about all different kinds of technology, such as AI, open source, and also robotics in the future. Yes, that's right. In the future, I could be replaced by a humanoid robot. And maybe I am already. Maybe I am already an android. Do you know? Are you sure that I'm that person? Okay, we're going to find out. I will make a few introductions just before we start. So I mentioned that we are Crypto Hub Malta, and that is true. You can check us out on our website called cryptohubmalta.org, funnily enough. Social media, but mostly on Telegram and Instagram. And if you want to join our Telegram group where the conversation is taking place, there is a QR code at the lineup at the end of the bar. Go scan it and click on it. It's a private invite. You cannot find us otherwise. Now, this is the website, cryptohubmalta.org. This is something very special. Now get out your phones. Those of you who've been here before, raise your hand if you're here for the first time. First timers up with the hands. All of you, welcome. Hope to see you here again, and that you're not only here for educational technology, but actually for the revolution. But if you scan this QR code, you are going to receive a free NFT drop. It is a POAP, a proof of attendance protocol. That means you have a cryptographic proof that you've been here, and in the future, you are going to be a free access first class business class flight passenger. That is not true, but if you scan it right now, you will have some perks in the future that we are going to use to govern the community. Yes, I am going to, don't worry guys, I'm going to put this up later. This is something that will provide utility and value for you. You can scan it now. Now, I mentioned that we are Crypto Hub Malta, and that is true. We are the coolest blockchain community, of course, in the world, but we are not the biggest organization, and we don't have the biggest funding. But you know who does? SuperCharger Venture. They're the biggest EdTech incubator in the world. The reason why we talk about The reason why we talk about this here and why we choose this date in particular is because there will be a very special activity. It's the SuperCharger Festa, starting on June 23rd. And before I shill too much, I ask on the stage with me Emma from SuperCharger Venture to explain you.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma. I'm the Partnerships and Event Manager at SuperCharger Ventures. We have a little video to show you from our Verdella Palace visit. We are hosting a super huge festival in Malta in June. We are bringing investors, entrepreneurs, startups, everyone from abroad and in Malta to the event itself. We came up with this idea in January. It was a very unique, let's say, idea to come up with this because we are blending tradition with innovation. But definitely a great place to be because especially now we are hosting a flash sale where we are having all of our tickets for 50 euros. A lot of the tickets were approximately 250 euros, so we definitely hope a lot of you will be able to make it. If you have any questions regarding sponsorships, partnerships, or what the actual festa is, please do come talk to me a little bit for it. We also have Iusef on the panel from SuperCharger Ventures who will be talking a little bit more about it. So definitely a great place to be, and I really hope all of you can make it. Thank you.
Emma, this is Crypto Hub Malta. We are all going to make it. We are all going to make it. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to say, it's a special event. It's a special panel. There's 4 panelists and 1 moderator, Dawson Camilleri, and he is really the mastermind behind it. He pulled this together and it was great fun. If you've seen the poster that we put together, we have like those guys, they have the most quirky AI generated avatars. And this is not only how they look on the poster, this is also how they think, and they are super committed to pushing their field and their own niche in this technology. I'm very excited, and I'm going to pass over the microphone and the stage to Dawson Camilleri.
I would like to start by thanking everyone for coming today. It's a very special event for me, and I'm really happy that we're having this conversation today. So, Feres, the PowerPoint.
Of course. I knew that.
It's okay, mistakes happen. So today we're going to talk about smart classrooms. It's blending innovation with education. And I would first like to raise a bit of awareness on National Men's Health Awareness Month. So this month marks Men's National Health Awareness Month. If you have people that are suffering from problems, send them a message because you don't really know what they're going through. So it's very important that we take care of each other when we're feeling a bit upset. So we'll go through a bit of the agenda of today. So we have a short introduction of the speakers. Then we have a panel discussion. Please, no fighting, no biting. Try to be civil. We have questions, and then we have a networking session at the end. So we have a chance to network with the speakers. So I would first like to give the floor to the speakers to give a short introduction. Patrick.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. Well, I'm Patrick Camilleri. I'm a digital pedagogist. I work at the University of Malta, and my job besides teaching teachers is to make people aware on how they can avail themselves of the same gadgets that they use for recreation, let's not just say waste of time, to use them in a constructive manner. Because ultimately, we're living in a reality where our students are definitely living through the screen. And definitely we have to, with our maturity, with our life experiences, try to engage the students in a constructive manner to learn the content and make it into knowledge from the books without actually availing themselves of the books, because that's the reality today. Thank you.
Taylor.
Thank you. First of all, amazing work to Dawson. He was so organized leading up to this. It was very impressive, honestly, for just a community event. So thank you for that. My name is Taylor. I'm a co-founder of a company called Axon Park. I've been working in the VR education space for about 10 years, actually a little over 10 years now. And we're building a platform that's sort of similar to Roblox or Minecraft, if you're familiar with those platforms, but entirely for education, using a lot of the newest tools to help with creating content, engaging students, and just making a much more fun learning experience.
Nilsen.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Dawson, for organizing this. Cheers to my fellows. So my name is Nilsen. I work in the drones industry. And funnily enough, we educate our drones as well to how to behave. So it's very interesting for me to be here with you. It's an honor.
And finally, but not least, Iusef.
Hi, first of all, I don't have a tit like this. I have a normal tit, but I don't know. Jim. Maybe later, Alex.
No, no slipping, please.
Okay. So my name is Iusef. I'm the director of the accelerator programs at SuperCharger Ventures. Before that, I had my own EdTech company for 2 years in Copenhagen. And funny enough, I was applying to SuperCharger Ventures with my own company, and they rejected me. So, so then I said, if I cannot join them, if I cannot beat them, I join them. So I've been here in Malta for 2 years. And even my location here is funny because I connect startups with education and a bit of money, hopefully. So I'm very happy to be here with you guys, and I look forward to share a bit of my experience and my knowledge in reviewing around 1,000 companies per year. Thank you, everyone.
So I would first like to start by giving an overview of the smart classroom. Some of these tools, they're very old. I don't even know what some of them even are. But as we are seeing, as time goes forward, we're becoming more immersive in the tools that we are using to learn about different topics and subjects. So these are two images that I found. So as we can see in one of the images, math teachers protest against the use of calculators. So there was always this fear-mongering that technology will replace teachers, but in my opinion, it's not really the case. We have to learn to use the tools because that's how the tools will not replace us. And as we can see right now, a similar situation, it's appearing. So there's also a fear-mongering that Duolingo will take the jobs of language teachers, which is obviously not the case. You know, you always need the human touch to be able to learn. You need a person to teach you. And to end this introduction, here's a quote: "Any teacher that can be replaced by a computer deserves to be." So I think it's very important that we utilize the tools available so we don't fall behind the disruption of technology. So my first question goes to Taylor. What are the biggest hurdles to implement AR/VR in schools or universities?
So I'd say there are 3 key things. So there's policy, there's infrastructure, and then mindset. So on the policy side, that typically is the catalyst for the tidal wave. So really, we're actually seeing some really interesting policy movements that are happening now across the EU and across other countries. So I'd say that's kind of the biggest thing, is the policy being there to sort of set the stage. Then on the infrastructure side, that's kind of the most like tangible thing that you see, where people don't have access to the hardware, they don't have the funds, they don't have the internet infrastructure, they don't have everything required to actually deploy the experiences, which especially with VR headsets is tremendously high friction, you could say. With AI, it's actually a lot easier because a lot of people have the devices. But if you're looking at this combination of the two, that is a big headache. It's something I've been hitting my head against for literally 10 years. So then the final thing is mindset. And it's really interesting. I mean, you look at all these future of education reports, everyone's talking about immersive, 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 and yet it just still hasn't really come. And I think when you look at the other side of the data, I think it was 21% of teachers actually feel prepared to implement technology in their classrooms. And realistically, some of them might actually be and not realize it, and those that feel prepared may not actually be prepared. So there's just 1/5 of teachers feeling prepared, and all these big challenges. So I think long term, for sure it will get there, but those are the 3 key things I'd say are blockers.
My next question goes to Patrick. How is AI being used to personalize learning paths for students of different abilities or backgrounds?
So first of all, I like to focus on the word personalization. The thing is that when I go inside the classrooms, they are the same way they were 40 years ago when I was a kid myself. And that really worries me because the culture of the students themselves have changed a lot. Today, through social media and Web 2 and eventually Web 3.0, our students are their own producers, directors of their own content. And they receive feedback in real time, like, dislikes, comments like that. Then they go inside the classroom and they have to sit down and have no time to express themselves. Learning is a common modality to different people with different inclinations. And in the process, we are losing lots of students on the way. Now, why is AI helpful? Because AI, if we are in a position that we can relate with AI, we can express ourselves with AI, like we express ourselves with people, then it can give us feedback on what we require. In this case, when it comes to education, an important thing is that there are various things. For instance, there are the adaptive learning processes. And in this case, I'm referring to platforms like Khan's Academy and Dreambox, where students, once they relate with these platforms build models according to the qualities and inclinations of the students, and accordingly provide solutions or translates content in a way that it becomes meaningful to students. And when content becomes meaningful to students, that is where it becomes knowledge. And if we can contextualize content, then we'll definitely understand it. So adaptive learning systems are very important. Another important aspect are intelligent tutoring systems, where in this case, AI can act in a one-to-one relationship. It can converse with the students. It can understand the qualities of the students. It can build patterns of the outcomes of the results from the students, and accordingly builds the same content in a different manner that makes sense to students. Like when we're talking ourselves, let's say we like potato. Some like them fried, some like them boiled. So in that case, we're still getting the same ingredients, but in different flavors. And actually that is what is required by the students. Another thing is multimodality, which is part of accessibility and inclusion. What do I intend to say? Students today are mixed. We might have students with certain physical impairments. So in this case, this is where multimodality comes in, where the AI can provide the same content in different methods, writing, videos, sounds, whatever. It depends upon the quality of the students themselves. This is also the issues when it comes to personalized content creation and assessment. I mean, should we assess students in the same way? We were talking about calculators, for instance. Yes, I remember the time when I moved from the logbook, I'm an old man, yes, to calculators. And I remember teachers becoming very preoccupied that we might become dumb. Eventually, education had to evolve. What do I mean to say? That if the calculator can do all the analysis, then it gives us more time for interpretation of data, making sense of data. So move to the next level. I mean, yes, I work a lot alongside artificial intelligence. I've been working with various companies in Boston, Google, and since 2017. But before, I used to teach physics as well. And I remember when we introduced data loggers. So we had an experiment that you could do in 1.5 hours. With data loggers, you could do it in 5 minutes. So what about the rest of the time? The students had to learn how to interpret graphs, make sense out of things. And this is the reality that we're living. So, yes, I embrace artificial intelligence. I work a lot alongside artificial intelligence. The important thing is that I express myself with the AI as I express myself with people. So every time I speak, for instance, with Claude, and it calls me Dr. Patrick, I say, hello, Claude, you make me feel good calling me Dr. Patrick. But in its own sense, it helps me to put down my defenses and express myself with things as well. Thank you.
My next question goes to Nilsen. What advancements in cybernetics are most influencing the next generation of drone systems?
Okay. Anyone of you are familiar with the term cybernetics? Anyone? Yes, sir. Okay, so cybernetics is the study of systems and their interactions, and especially with a focus on feedback mechanisms, control, and communications. So, on the advancement in cybernetics, we saw for the past 10 years like 3 to 4 real big advancements. The first one is miniaturization of hardware. So this is incredible. Like you have a lot of power in on your phone, and like compared to 10 years ago, it's insane. So this is the first one. The second innovation that I can put forth is that now we have like the ability to train neural networks in a way that is super optimized. So, and this goes along with the miniaturized hardware that we can embark on board the drones, the robots. And then maybe a third one is that we have done also a lot of advancement in communications and cyber integration, like cyber defense, cyber security stuff. So those are, I think, are the ones that are influencing the next generation of drones. And all of this is to provide more situational awareness for the robotic systems. So, yeah, in a way, it's also education for the robots.
Iusef, what pricing strategies have you seen succeed in EdTech, especially in competitive markets?
I want to ask first the audience. Can I ask here from the people attending, what do you think is the goal of studying? Like why do people study or people have an education? Can anyone shout out whatever they're thinking? Employment, salaries, to better quality of life, to answer questions, freedom,
Making my dreams come true.
Thank you, doctor. I'm as good as Cloud now. So, and this is the reason that like people study to have a better life, to get more money, to be happy. That's, in my opinion, that's the life cycle. And the challenge with a lot of startups is that they focus more on the product and on the technology behind the product rather than on the impact of this product on people. So if you go to a child and you give them an AI empowered, or you give them a notebook, or you give them whatever, like a toy, the goal of the child is to either learn something and enjoy while learning, or help this child become better at whatever they want to become in life, regardless of how this product came to life. So if it's VR, it's awesome. If it's AI, it's also good. But the challenge is that a lot of startups and a lot of companies get stuck into this loop of creating something that is hyped, rather than focusing on the impact of kids. And then the same is for adults. A lot of bigger companies right now are focusing on the result-driven pricing, where it's, instead of you paying for a subscription or a freemium, you pay based off what you get out of it. So if you're looking for an internship, you pay after you get a job. If you're looking for a boot camp, you pay after you get an internship, or after you finish the boot camp and you actually feel like you have learned a lot. And I think this approach is the right approach in terms of cracking EdTech, because EdTech is either funded by the government, funded by parents, funded by schools, by universities, and it's very, very rare that it's funded by the user, because we all know that learners are broke. It's a sad reality, but it's a reality, and that's why you always try to find another way to get money out of the users, either by granting them the full experience and then they paying you back, or by finding some new people to pay you, which is the government, which is the parents that usually pay because they trust that this product will help their children become better in life, or the schools or universities, because at the end of the day, the schools and the universities, they want more admission, so they want more kids. So at the end of the day, it's all about the money. And how you create money is how you give impact to the final user, in my opinion. Thank you.
So Taylor, what does the classroom of 2035 look like when AI and VR are fully integrated into daily learning?
That's a fun one. I mean, unfortunately, I think it's going to be very different in different parts of the world, of course. Just like with any technology, there's a big lag in a lot of places. But what I hope is that learning will actually be fun and enjoyable. I don't know about everyone here, but when you're going through the mundane daily learning in a lot of what we had to go through, it's just boring as hell, right? And learning is the most amazing thing, being able to be exposed to new concepts, open your mind to new things, yet it's so boring. And so what I really hope is that we can actually move into a future, of course, again, going back to the 3 pillars of policy being a huge, huge thing, is that we can actually build a tool that allows people to follow their curiosity. Because imagine if you didn't have to follow a structured curriculum, but you were just empowered to follow your curiosity with some guardrails that would be moving you toward acquiring the skills and knowledge that you need to be a functioning human in the year 2035, which is going to be such a different world than we're living in now. You just think about the advancements we've seen in the past 2 years and 3 years with LLMs coming out, and just how much faster this is just going to go. And like, what does it even mean to be a contributing member of society at that point? What skills do you need to have? You have to be creative. You have to be able to be good with people, to be curious, to be driven, to manage your own time. So rather than forcing people into a box, which we had to do in the past, because basically you just had rote memorization, you had structured curriculum, you just had to do it because you had so many students, so few teachers. Whereas now, Patrick's saying, you have these tools that can actually personalize the experience to every student. You don't have to have, the bell curve of this half of the students are below the curve, they're kind of lost, they don't really know what's going on. This half are ahead, they're bored. You have a system that can meet people where they are and engage them and basically build experiences for them. So I think, to kind of put it concisely, what I would hope for 2035, again, looking at the sort of advanced classrooms of 2035, would be you'd have a system that can actually build a learning experience for you from scratch, specifically for you based on your interests and your goals. So one I think about a lot is if you're learning about what it's like inside a volcano, it's kind of like, you've all probably seen The Matrix, a lot of you have probably seen The Matrix, where you're in the white room and then it's like, I want to know Kung Fu, and then you know Kung Fu, or I want to know how to fly a helicopter, and then you know how to fly a helicopter. I think that's brain-computer interfacing, which is like maybe a few more decades down the line, but the ability to create an experience like going inside a volcano, saying, I want to know what it's like, and then it just builds it. Like you've all seen using the image generation today. You imagine just world generation, which there's already some really interesting world generation happening. And then you can say, I want to understand what the composition of the lava is at a molecular level. And then boom, it's all around you and you're understanding it. And you can just basically follow your curiosity. So that's what I would optimistically hope for in, you could say the most technologically advanced classrooms in 10 years. So yeah.
And Taylor, could some students find it a bit difficult to maybe use VR? Maybe they have like some problems that impair them from fully utilizing the technology.
Yeah, so I think there's head-mounted display, HMD-based VR, which like you put on the headset, you're in either 6DoF, which is like you have your hands and you can walk around, or you have 3DoF, which is like, I call it scarecrow VR, where you just kind of look around the space, but you can't actually lean in. That's one way of interacting with a virtual space, but if anyone's played Roblox or Minecraft or Fortnite or any of the games, you can also interact with these 3D spaces through traditional flat screens. So that's something, again, talking about hitting my head against the wall of VR headsets in classrooms, I finally had to like bow to the mercy of flat screens and also support flat screens because some people just aren't comfortable in VR. They get motion sick, they get claustrophobic, they just don't, again, they don't have the means to get that type of hardware. So I really think of it as a 3D virtual space that you can access through all different types of devices. So that's.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
Do you think in 2035 people still need degrees?
For certain fields, I think. But yeah, I would hope that people can actually just be assessed and like, you know, you look at a big brand institution like Harvard or Stanford, it's like literally an abstraction of your knowledge. You just trust the brand. Oh, this person went here, I can trust them. And you're putting so much trust into this institution. Whereas in reality, you want to know, are they smart? Are they capable? Do they have the skills? Do they have the personality? And if you can remove the abstraction and just understand the person, which the AI is starting to be able to do that, then you can just have a pure direct connection to someone and you don't need the veil of a degree or a brand.
Stay in school, kids.
Virtual schools.
So, Patrick, what major changes should we expect in the next 5 to 10 years as AI becomes more embedded in EdTech?
First of all, that's a really complicated question. If I were to quote Yuval Noah Harari, AI isn't artificial intelligence, it is alien intelligence. By alien intelligence, how much do we really understand artificial intelligence that we're working with, especially when it is constantly evolving? Definitely, teachers, embracing it or not, change will happen. Change is happening outside, and there's a big misalignment between what is happening outside the classroom and what's happening inside the classroom. And it's very complicated, even when you mentioned VR. I mean, probably in the next 5 years, our mobile phones will disappear, and we'll all be wearing glasses through which we can communicate with each other. So actually, that would be part of the virtual reality. What would happen to our students? Now, in this case, things are going to be definitely complicated because at the moment, when we refer to large language models like ChatGPT that most of us use, they are artificial narrow intelligence platforms. I suppose that in 5 years, these artificial narrow intelligence platforms will become more generic. So they would be moving to artificial generic intelligence or general intelligence. In that case, artificial intelligence will become more granular. It will be in a position not just to understand what we're saying, but even to read our emotions from our faces. So definitely education will change. Now, how or what would happen to teachers? Definitely, we have to put our foot down. I mean, I work a lot with Professor Melanie Mitchell from the University of Pennsylvania, and we always focus on the qualities that make us human. So if you're bored about what we're talking about, great. That means that you're human. Artificial intelligence never gets bored, never gets tired. Now, definitely AI will be in a position where becoming granular, it can understand students better. It can personalize learning better. So in the process, what would teachers do? Teachers will have more time to focus on the qualities that make us human, focus on dialogues with students, help students through their emotions, even if they don't understand certain things. So that's probably the way education will change. Definitely, we have to see on how to avail ourselves of these qualities, these raw qualities, because they're changing so fast, while we as humans are physiologically similar, if not identical, to the same people who built the Neolithic temples in Malta. So the same people who are physiological like this, that is us, are technically living a completely alien reality. And it's not easy to say what would happen. Definitely, we'll be having, even through VR or AR, more immersive learning environments. Even how VR will change, we cannot say. Because if in 5 years' time, our mobile phones as we know them become obsolete, and we'll all end up wearing glasses, what would happen in 10 years' time? Will the glasses disappear and become something physically inside us? Because we know that there are companies like Tesla who are working on using chips where you can actually use your brains to create VR images, virtual reality, without having anything which you can show physiologically on your body as well. So definitely, I mean, I can close there because it's complicated. I'm not a prophet. But definitely, as AI becomes more granular and it would relate more with people, it will become more part of us. And definitely teachers have to see on how to bridge these qualities of artificial intelligence with our qualities, which aren't changing as fast as AI is. Thank you.
So, Niels, how do you protect cybernetic UAE systems from being hijacked or manipulated? UAS. Sorry.
So, unmanned aerial system for UAS. That's a good question. It's funny because I do directly the link with what was said right now, and like we face the same problematics. So, on a purely technical level, it's multi-layered. So, think of it like a robot. All right, it has AI inside. It can communicate, but it needs to integrate the physical world, us. So we are talking about VR. Now let's say like machines enter our dimensions. So you have first of all any anomaly. So that's we protect the physical integrity of the robot. So the robot needs to know if it's missing a limb or if it's in difficult weather conditions. For instance, a drone needs to know like, okay, it's storm outside, it's beyond my capabilities, so I need to protect myself. This is a cybernetic system. So any anomaly needs to be checked. Then we have also all the communications. So when the robot exchanges, it needs to be secure, otherwise it can be hijacked or manipulated. You don't want to have your robot act against you. So it needs really to have like a secure mean of communication. Then, in fact, it's a bit redundant because the cybernetics is the control, is the feedback mechanism. So it's already a loop that cares for safety. But basically, this is what we are doing, where it needs to be tailored. So we don't rely on external components. We design our own hardware. We don't rely on external software. We rely on our own software. So by doing our own biology system, maybe, then we can make sure that this is like mostly secure and it cannot be interfered or hijacked. And the fun fact is that our robots learn. And so we try to educate them, but they also learn by themselves. And you can induce in error the errors with fake data. And so it's a bit the same with your students. Yeah, I hope I answered.
Okay. One last question before we go to your questions. So, Iusef, what common mistakes do founders make when pitching EdTech solutions to VCs?
I feel like I got the boring questions. They have the fun ones, so I will ask a question instead. And I will answer it, I swear. Just for my curiosity. Can you raise your hand, please, if you would study or read something that is completely done by AI? So if you would study or read something that is completely done by AI, please raise your hand.
I do it every day. Yeah.
So I think more than half. So for you, like you don't mind having something that is completely written and done and ready for you without any interaction from a human.
Can I answer?
Yes, of course.
So we design our own AI. So I trust my own AI. It's a different question.
Of course.
Yes. I work a lot along AI, but not with AI. What's the difference? I mean, when I go out to eat, I'm given a menu, and I choose what I want to eat and what I want to digest. So, as I'm receiving a service from the artificial intelligence, it's very important that I can express myself what I want from the artificial intelligence. Let me give an example. If I go out to eat and I get beef and I have complimentary drinks, they would probably give me red wine. So the red wine is there to take what I have ordered to a higher level. So when it comes to artificial intelligence, if I can express myself what I want of the AI, I will first definitely digest what the AI gives me and I make it mine. I might refuse it. And will try to recognize any new potentials that I wasn't aware of that I can relate with and expand in. But yes, I would accept whatever AI would give me, but I would make it mine. I mean, I wouldn't accept anything. I wouldn't accept things from AI that I don't know about, that I'm not familiar with. If I'm familiar with something, for instance, yes and no. Because if I tell AI, can you give me an image of a woman? And if for the AI the woman is only long hair, and I show it a picture of a woman with short hair, how would it define it? But if I know what a woman is, whatever image it gives me, I can be able in a position to decipher it and decide if it's true or not. And I say, I didn't know that there were blonde women as well, besides dark-haired women. So that would definitely, AI will take me to the next level. But I don't accept anything that it gives me. And those are the qualities that make us human. Because what worries me is that if we accept whatever AI gives us, and if our younger generation would accept everything that AI gives them, what would happen when they are in leading positions themselves? Will they make decisions as human, or will they allow something which doesn't know what it means to be human to make decisions for us? And I wouldn't like that, because I would still want my pension. Because when I'm 65 and I'm in my pension, and the AI would decide that I'm not anymore economically viable, would it mean that I would be dying of hunger? Would it make sense? No. So definitely, that is why whatever we're talking about AI, it has to be instigated with the qualities that make us human as well.
Thank you. No, I think the answer is too complex for me. So, but my question is like, if you click one button, and that one button gives you a full article, randomly, completely generated by AI, would you study from that article or not? For anyone?
Does the article have sources?
No sources, completely random, like ChatGPT 3.5, not like the new one. Then a follow-up question. How do you feel when you read an article completely generated on LinkedIn on AI that you know 100% is completely generated? Do you enjoy it? Do you like it? Do you read it? Never, right? And this is again like a problem that happens with tech and education, that people take tech for granted for education, that if you have a VR, if you have an AR, if you have AI or whatever, that is going to improve, or personalized learning, that is going to improve the learning outcome. But in my opinion, the goal is you learning something in the most efficient and the most maybe even enjoyable way possible, but that has quality. Sure.
Well, yes. For instance, what are the chances that I take my students on Mars? 0. Then again, if I program a software, a platform, and I, as a scientist, know the environment of Mars, so if I have a student who's wearing a VR and they're actually looking at the sand on Mars, which is very similar to the one we have on Golden Bay in Malta, so there the students can relate to the qualities, to the nature of the planet. But definitely, underlying the AI-generated content, there has to be someone who has to edit the content if required, which means that if we believe that AI will take us out of a job, I don't believe so. It will create new opportunities. We need programmers. We need people who will take care of the software, of the hardware involved. So it will create new opportunities. And that's very important, because I would definitely not exist in a reality where I will let a machine decide for me. I don't even let my wife decide for me. Definitely not a machine. No, I'm being realistic. I don't like being put by my nose.
So now it's time for some questions.
I haven't answered. Let me just
Okay.
1 minute. Let me answer. Sorry guys. Sorry. Okay. So, what common mistakes do founders make when pitching EdTech solutions to VCs? I think the number one mistake is pitching too much the impact side to VCs. VCs don't care about impact. They want to see numbers. They want to see revenue. They want to see how you're gonna make them much, much richer. It's horrible, and that's why, in my opinion, EdTech and VCs are not a good match. For money, go to angel investors that care about your mission, about your vision. Go to governments. Go to amazing communities like this, like crowdfunding. But in my opinion, and I work also kind of for a VC, it's not a good match. Because VCs want 10 or 20x return of their investment, and 95% of, even more, of EdTech products, they will not do that return. So this is my own experience and my own opinion, that VCs, there are like 5 or 6 that invest fully in EdTech, and it does not work very well, because then they want the return of an investment, and they don't want. It's good to have impact, but their main goal is revenue and money, and EdTech is more about like improving lives of people, and sometimes these two don't match. You have any opinion from
now
the other
it's time
side?
for questions, because Feres will kill me soon. So, any questions, anyone? Does anyone? Okay, sure, Philip.
Thanks, Orson. Of the 100 leading universities in the world, only 2 of them are less than 100 years old. The way that we look as consumers of education is always backwards. We're looking at reputation. What has the professor done? What have they written? What have they researched? They're looking at the institution. What has the institution achieved? So everything about education is backward looking in terms of the consumers deciding which institution and where to go. Now, obviously, when we're looking at the world of EdTech and AI in the future, what we're going to be looking at is a totally different way of measuring education and giving parents and students the confidence to go and acquire their education from these totally new ways of delivering it. Now, how are we going to overcome this huge mental block where you're going to say, no, don't go to Harvard, don't go to Oxford, go to Taylor?
I guess it's the question for Taylor.
I think, well, first of all, we're trying to sit as like a centralized layer between the consumer and that brand. So it's not necessarily our organization. The same way, to his point, I will very clearly argue that there are a lot of EdTech unicorns. Like there were in the past era, there were over 35 that were like publicly known. And for everyone that doesn't know what a unicorn is, it's $1 billion company or more. And that was even a handful of years ago. And so a lot of EdTech companies are very philanthropic and very mission-driven and impact-driven, which is amazing. But there is actually a huge amount of money. It's like, I mean, it's a $7 trillion a year business globally. It's one of the biggest markets in the world. So if you tap the vein and hit the gold rush at the right angle, then it's one of the most lucrative markets in the world. And so, yeah, I think it's really what you're saying around brands and legacy brands. That is starting to be dismantled through micro-credentials, through all sorts of, like a lot of people are just going to trade schools now. They don't care about getting the 4-year degree. Everyone wants to be an influencer these days. So yeah, I think that is a big trend. And again, for us, we're trying to sit at that like technology empowerment layer. So we're kind of like, we're abstracted from the situation. People just use our technology the same way that they would use Canvas or Blackboard, but not even realize that they're using it.
Do you mind if I reply? So, I come from University of Malta, which is a very old university. I've been teaching there for 16 years, and it's been an uphill struggle for me. Definitely, when I started working on the internet back in 1997, they told me we'll not be wasting money on you because the internet is just there for pornography and waste of time. I was saying things differently. Now, yes, the thing is this, that every year, certain topics that I teach, I change them from my students' products. I have this particular unit, which is called digital storytelling, where my students, they can use any multimedia that they want to express themselves. For instance, they might be using their mobile phones to create a photo story or a digital story that expresses winter in Malta. And there might be people who might be looking for times when we have bad weather, and there might be people who use it when they will have good weather. Then they use artificial intelligence to generate the words, which I have to check them out, definitely, and they create a PowerPoint. I have no issue if the PowerPoint is AI generated. The important thing is that when they present their material, they can express why they are accepting it the way it is and what it is showing. So, in that case, I'm not looking back, but I'm actually looking forward, and I'm learning a lot from my own students, from the things that they are creating or what AI is generating for them, and ultimately making it theirs. I mean, even from the feedback I get from my students, they tell me you are really helping us thinking out of the box. So if they believe that elephants are pink, and they can prove it by showing me us dummies of pink elephants, then yes, I accept it. If they say that they aren't alive, but they're dolls or whatever, the fact that they're still pink and they can prove it, then why not? One of the issues that we have with lots of universities, that we have siloed courses. You go into a degree and you have to do whatever is given to you. But there are universities where students are allowed to choose the units that they want to learn. And they build their own puzzle, and eventually they get their own degree. Hopefully, even the University of Malta will move in that direction as well. But there are universities, if I'm not wrong, Stratford, I believe, I forgot the name. But definitely there are universities where students are in a position to decide what they want to learn and what they want to achieve. So if they're going for engineering, they don't have to follow one course, but they take units that ultimately will make them engineers accordingly to the trends that they want to follow. Thank you.
Okay. Up with the hands if you have a question. Don't be shy. All the questions go, but from now on, short answers, okay? Next question here and then outside.
Hi, I'm standing up. My question is, why do the way of teaching adopt so slowly? Like AI and also technology is evolving at a rapid pace, but students still are taught the same material like 20 years ago in some cases. Why is it changing? Why is it not adapting accordingly faster?
Because teachers are not, they don't have enough time or training or money or motivation to, in my opinion, because it's linked to each other. If your average salary and you have, your full schedule is booked from day until night every day, you don't have time to actually research these topics. And why should you implement them? Where is the motivation in that? How is it gonna make more money for me if I implement these topics or not? That's my opinion, at least.
I would rather say it's more the ambition rather than the time, because if they would want, they will find time, right?
I would really, really doubt that. And speak to teachers and.
I mean, there's a statistic on this. So basically, OECD, they studied the way that teachers spend their time. And literally 50% of the time, exactly 50% from the study, was on non-teaching related tasks. So that's lesson planning, grading, administrative. It has nothing to do with actually teaching. So that's what's so interesting about AI, is that we're not this like doomsday period where teachers are going to get replaced. It's like all the BS work that the teachers have to do is going to get replaced so they can teach. Because right now they're slammed. They don't have the bandwidth to do these things because they're slammed. So that's where, hopefully, these tools can be implemented in thoughtful ways for them so that they can actually unlock 20, 30, 40% more of their time back to focus on the students and teaching. And a lot of the students are using ChatGPT now. Like most students that have access to a device and internet are using ChatGPT. So even if the teachers aren't, the students are.
the way I see it is that things are changing very fast, and we are all very different from each other. Now, teachers have their own personality, and they also have their own reality inside the classroom, which isn't just the physical room itself, but even the students that they have in front of them. Unfortunately, as I said, things are changing so fast, and by the time teachers learn to adopt to something, adapt to it, and enact new qualities out of it, things would have changed again. And that is an issue. Definitely, we require a change, not in the syllabus, in the curriculum, in the way that things are translated to the teachers, giving them more leeway to express themselves differently. I mean, even when it comes to assessment, it doesn't make sense that we expect our students to write what they have to say, we give them a star or a mark, and things stop there. Especially when outside of the classroom, more than half of their day, they spend it to express themselves freely with others and get instantaneous feedback. So even the way we have to assess has to change. But how it can be done, it's easier said than done. It's like coming here and I say, okay, let's all drink a beer. And then my people tell us, I like drinking, but I don't like beer. I like whiskey, or I like brandy, or I like water. And that's the, how can I say it? Yes, not the situation, the situation actually. Yes, a big H. Because I had the same issue when I was working on internet-based learning way back in the early 2000s. Teachers weren't in a position to comprehend on how they use it. They have their interactive board behind their back.
Patrick AI, please shorten.
Okay, so I stopped there. Okay, I stopped there then. Thank you. Sorry.
There's going to be a question here, and then the next one is over there. After this question, I am going to read up the questions from Crypto Club Katowice. They are watching this panel live in Poland, and they have some questions. So next question from Malta, here.
First of all, guys, thank you. This is really fascinating what you are all talking about, because during lockdown, I had exactly the same thought when I saw students only glued to a laptop, doing watching a lecture on talking about an engineering degree. What I think is the biggest industry that has to be disrupted is the education sector. We all want to have a degree of Yale or Harvard, and obviously that's only for the 1%. Who has a big Iron League here? Nobody. But what I want my children to educate themselves is when they want to find a lecturer that is in south of France or in Australia, that they click on a menu. I want to learn a little bit about robotics, about drones, about engineering, about psychology, and they make a menu of how they want to get their degree. The university degree, why do we put so much emphasis on labels? I did hotel management. I had to only pick what I had on the menu. I don't want that. We want choice. So please, maybe give your idea.
Can I ask you, what's your career?
I did hotel management. I'm now in electric vehicles.
And when you hire, what do you look for?
Very good question. I look about passion and about skills.
So you hire without any degree?
Correct.
Then kudos for you.
Yes. So my question is, can we disrupt education, and can we go to a menu where kids can click what they want and they get a combination, and yes, there's going to be a title on that degree?
I will answer for Taylor. And also, yes. The answer is yes, and that's the goal of what Taylor is doing, like adapted. Going a bit further, in fact, the responsibility of Taylor's system is enormous, because the AI, you will need to tell the AI that humans will make mistakes by learning, and this is a super big problem.
Thanks for that.
I'm going to keep it short, no problem. Definitely, we seem to be ignoring a very important word, lifelong learning. So let's forget just the kids. Even the people who are working in the companies, how are they going to adopt and adapt to new qualities to be productive I mean, I work with lots of companies, and they tell me, we don't want to fire people. Can you show us on how we can instigate use of AI and people come to embrace it so they can be not just more productive, but productive even different? So it's very important that people learn to adopt, adapt, and think out of the box. And I stop there. I kept it short.
I mean, just to touch on that quickly, there is a macro trend, like this gentleman is saying, where organizations are not caring about degrees like they once were. And when you see FANG, the big companies start to not care about degrees, then everyone kind of starts to trickle along and follow, aside from pioneers that don't care. So that is happening. It's a beautiful thing that's happening, especially because now you actually can understand the nuance. Like it used to be a blunt instrument. Do I have a degree? Yes, no. It's all dusty books and no way of tracking anything, and who knows, we have to trust face value of this brand that we've heard of 100 years ago. But now we actually have nuance in data. We actually have the ability to understand things at a more nuanced level. So I am very hopeful that that will happen, and the industry is starting to push it in that direction.
One last question.
Actually, it's a question from Katowice that I'm going to read up on their behalf now. So the question goes to the whole panel. What do you think about using data observability in AI-powered teaching?
That's a big problem. And again, like it reflects what you were saying. So who is in control of the education? If you provide tools to the teacher to ease its 30% or 40% time that is wasted, then he might rely too much on this. We see it, like for instance, notably in the police force. They're using a lot of AI tools to do some inquiries, and they rely on the data that is being provided on the AI. They don't do their job anymore. They do mistakes. So if this happens at a state level like this, what about education?
So I'm just quickly pulling this up again. So basically there's the AI Act, which got passed recently, and there's a whole section in there about education and what you can and can't do with AI for education. And I wasn't able to pull it up quickly enough, but basically there's one point in there that I think is really salient for this, which is essentially you cannot use AI to fully assess someone. So the AI can't determine someone's fate, essentially. The AI can assist in providing the data to help the teacher determine the student's fate, but the AI has to be abstracted from that situation, from making the end decision. So there is a lot of policy, again, going back to policy, because it's so important. The policy is there to protect the AI from dominating and basically making decisions on behalf of the student that will affect them forever.
So that means when I go to retirement age and the AI determines we recommend to shop this one off, the human will say, wait a second, this one he bought Bitcoin. We're going to keep him till the end. Next question here from the room.
Hi. Do you ever envision a time when AI will replace sporting events or sport education? And if so, what would that look like? And what will happen to those students that currently gain access to education because of a sports scholarship, for example?
Honestly, I envision a time that AI will replace all our jobs. All of it. Like I spend 8 hours per day in the office writing emails and answering some blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Honestly, I think that, yes, it can replace me, it can replace my job. And I think in like 10 to 20 years it will. But then I will advance to having more time, like they mentioned, to do more stuff that only me as a human can do. Maybe becoming a baker or something like that.
Your answer will probably be in the day the universal income will arrive. This will be your answer, that AI has replaced everything. So the moment you see this in any country, then it's the beginning of this end, or whatever.
So sports is actually a really interesting one that you bring up, because I wish I could remember who it was. It was a big tech CEO. but basically they were saying that sports is actually one of the most protected of any job, because when we all watch sports, it's basically the human element is such a essential component. Seeing the players, seeing the human performance, seeing how they can behave relative to us as, you know, non-professional athletes, and that the human element is huge, and that's what we connect with. So actually, it was one of the most defensible of anything. I think there will be robotics-based sports like battle bots and, you know, all this kind of stuff, which is going to be pretty awesome as well. But yeah, this like human performance element where we like beautiful dancers, beautiful athletes, like this is, I think, a quite protected industry actually relative.
But you will have bionics. So you already see it in the disabled games where you have like augmented limbs and stuff like this. So it will be more progressive for this. But yes, it's the realm of humans and it should stay there.
Same as in chess. The computers could beat us for a long time, but we still love to watch Magnus Carlsen, the chess world champion. He came to Malta last month, and this week he got beaten. Iusef, I think there are some questions from your colleagues. So you just mentioned that 8 hours are long in the office. Yes, what is the question?
I'm not a colleague.
Okay.
About the sports. So they already started with the enhanced games. They're making it inhuman. So it's already underway. Thank you, Alex.
But I believe there's only one aspect of sports. I mean, when I go running, I'm using AI, which is telling me my heartbeat, the time that it's taking me to do a kilometer. So there, the AI is actually helping me to enhance what I already do. I mean, yes, I stopped training for 8 months because I had other issues. But in this last month, I mean, yes, 4 weeks ago, it was taking me an hour to do 8 kilometers. Now I'm doing it in 45 minutes. And why? No, the thing is this, because I have an AI on my watch, which is telling me, go faster, slow down, this is the heartbeat, and it's definitely helping. It's changing the music accordingly to my pace. So there, AI is actually enhancing me to become more physically fit. Now, if there would be games that would involve robots, why not? I mean, we're already having movies that are AI generated. So, but I don't think that physically it affects me. What I'm worried is if we have people who are so much glued to their screen that they'll get fat and, and do nothing. And that's a big problem as well.
Thank you very much. We are slowly about to wrap it up. Before we wrap it up, I want to thank the organizations that make this possible here. Let me just tell you who they are.
SuperCharger. No.
SuperCharger. we get to that. But before that, there's WH Partners. WH Partners is a crypto law firm, and they have been helping us, meaning Crypto Hub Malta, with some applications. If they can help us, they can help you. It's WH Partners. They are our preferred law firm. Also, you get a 10% discount if you mention Crypto Hub to them. Then, yes. WH Partners. Then there's the Bit Research, and there's actually an important announcement here. The Bit Research, obviously, they do research for the bit, like for the bits on the blockchain, but actually they are a Maltese proprietarian trading firm specialized in crypto, forex, and automated trading strategies. Now, I mentioned this to you because I know some of you are sitting at home thinking about going 10x on Bitcoin, but now the Bit Research is looking for traders that they can take into their office, teach them, work with them, and develop something new. They're looking to build trading bots. This is why they look for developers, crypto trader, and also forex traders. This goes out to you, but it also goes out to Katowice, to our sister community in Katowice, and to Bucharest. So if you hear this, go to the Bit Research and check it out under the career section. Now, last but not least, it's of course the SuperCharger Venture Festa that is going to start on June 23rd. Emma mentioned this already. Take the opportunity to talk to some of the team. They are sitting over there at this table. I want to thank very much the whole panel. They are not going to leave just yet, so if you have some questions, go catch them at the bar. Patrick, Iusef, Taylor, Nilsen, and the man who made this possible, Dawson Camilleri. Thank you very much and see you here next week.